They left that place and passed through Galilee. Jesus did not want anyone to know where they were, because he was teaching his disciples. He said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and after 3 days he will rise." But they didn't understand what he meant, and were afraid to ask him about it. They came to Capernaum. When he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the road?" But they kept quiet because on the way they had argued about who was the greatest. Sitting down, Jesus called the 12 and said, "Anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and the servant of all." He took a little child whom he placed among them. Taking the child in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me does not welcome me but the one who sent me."
Mark chapter 9 verses 30 to 37. I'm standing in the parish of South Bersted where I'm the vicar, and I'm on the edge of Hotham Park, and behind me is the police station and what is now the Hotham Way and the road that leads down to Feltham. 250 or so years ago, in a map that's marked 1778, about here was known as Little Bognor. Not sure how clearly you can see on there. The other side of the park, where Butlins is, what is now known as the High Street, was known as Great Bognor. And it's interesting that we can work out, well, what was supposed to be the greatest? Presumably, it was Great Bognor. What I do find interesting is that South Bersted is in capital letters. So when it comes to working out who is the greatest, I'd go for the one that's in the capital letters, wouldn't you? In fact, even on Google Maps nowadays, Bognor Regis is still in lowercase and South Bersted is in capitals. I think that basically tells you all you need to know. Well, obviously, it's crazy having petty disputes about which of these is the greatest. And it was crazy that Jesus' disciples, even though they were in this discipleship training school, just hadn't understood yet about the way of the cross. Jesus has already told them that he is going to suffer and be killed and rise, and that the way to follow him is to take up their cross. But they are arguing about who is the greatest. He tells them again about his betrayal and death and resurrection, but they just don't yet understand it. Their focus is all about themselves. Which of them is going to be the greatest? So Jesus uses a visual aid. He takes up a little child, puts the child in the center, and explains that they are to welcome children. Now, in those days, unlike today, where we seem to idolize children, they were not then considered to be worth very much at all. Jesus says it's all about serving. It's all about putting other people before yourself. You know, the order that we've got to do things is we've got to put God first, others second, and ourselves last. So often we get that order completely the wrong way round. We put ourselves first, others second, and God last. Who are you serving? Even when it's really uncomfortable, going out of our comfort zones, taking up the cross and making sure that they have an opportunity to hear and respond to God's love. Father, thank you so much that Jesus shows us the way of the cross. Thank you that he didn't come to be served, but to serve. And thank you that he gives us a model of what it means to follow the way of the cross. May that be how I serve you also. Amen.